Everyone, it's insane to me how you can be very, very wealthy but still increase your own chance of dying. In any scenario where you can prevent an illness that could lead to your death, having that money to buy the best treatment possible is an incredible chance to have. You can also afford access to any services you want to improve your overall health, getting your own trainer, having frequent health checkups, or just special treatment. Of course, I know these will make you immortal, but if you live a normal life already, you can use that money to live an even healthier one. But regardless, it seems that insane ideas fueled by money leads to the death of millionaires than anything else. Best case example, that whole OceanGate fiasco, there you go. No other person apart from a millionaire could see an idea that insane and dumb and saying you have a chance of succeeding at it. Like that one guy, I don't remember his name, but he was rich. Who was gonna stop him? The terrifying force of underwater pressure? But it seems that rich man adventurous sense has left his body, his atomized corpse does, from thousands of feet underwater. It carried on from there and on to another guy. Well, now you have a billionaire with the exact same plan to do it later this year, having another submarine about the same scale, for a few people to go down there and see the Titanic, just like them. His name is Larry Connor, an incredibly wealthy real estate investor from Ohio. You remember? Ohio? It was a funny meme, wasn't it? I remember. He'll be going down with his friend, Patrick LaHaye, the CEO of Trident Submarines, a completely different one from the OceanGate incident. Oh, look at them, so cute together. Well, they'll be going together in this briefcase of a submarine meant to carry two people called the Trident 4000 Mark II, I think, Abyssal Explorer. In an interview, Larry Connor, the billionaire, said how the main plan on doing this idea right now is it was the first time in 10 years to finally have the technology that was safe enough to actually make this adventure happen. Compared to 5 years back where maybe they had a chance with that equipment to do it then, but they probably have the same story as the OceanGate one, but happened much earlier. But aside from that, it's also happening in the wake of the disaster, where it infamously went awful, but now he's hoping that doing this adventure now, he can prove that the industry is safer. And to prove that the ocean can be a safe place, if you, in his own words by the way, if you say the right precautions. This idea is coming from a 50-year-old billionaire, the kind of guy that would spend all his day working in his office, but this whole premise, the whole idea, that sounds like it came from a 10-year-old that's autistically obsessed with Titanic, and he really wants to see it. However, when you compare it to the awful disaster that was OceanGate, there are certain parts that do seem to be highlighted in a good way. And to be fair, the submarine that they plan to go with does cost $20 million, and I first referenced that with how much the submarine cost for the OceanGate one, and that one was at a joke, even less at $250,000. I knew for the longest time that the whole adventure, can't really call it more like a suicide mission, because the whole disregard for safety where the main guy, he had so many people warning him to not do it because the submarine wasn't safe enough, but he did so anyways. But now knowing that it costed that tiny amount, less than a house, that makes it feel so much more bizarre. I'm about to rip into this idea of how dumb it is, but objectively, just that whole cost being in ratio to that tiny amount, $250,000, that does make it feel this new one, the Trident submarine, feel a lot safer. I can't say if it's been tested because this company, Trident, they mainly make submarines for private use, and I really doubt that some guy brought a submarine from there to go deep and deep underwater to find the Titanic. So it is very likely that an adventure of this scale is being tested on this model for the first time. But I also want to mention the fact that it'll only be mainly just two guys, that's it, compared to the OceanGate one, it was 5 people cramped to a tiny space like a refugee boat. Which now looking back, that must have been terrifying, within the first hour of going underwater, and then in that small period where people they lost contact and they were stuck there before it imploded. Where even the rescue team was yeah, probably the lack of oxygen will kill them first, sorry to say. So you can definitely blame the bootleg equipment on that submarine that let you fail, but I feel on that merit just having 2 people just there, that's it, that makes it feel, at least to me, more safer. However, I can't keep on jacking off this prize pony of a submarine, because there are certain parts that made me doubt it a little bit, apart from the insane idea. For one, I know I sound retarded for saying this, but the whole name, it being called the Trident 4000 Mark II whatever, Abyssal Explorer, which, in my opinion at least, sounds a bit too close to abysmal. I don't believe in superstition, but that seems a bit scary. But the main part that really pulls me away from this idea is that I really feel it can be done. I'm sure it has been done before in the past, with a team of explorers in the submarine. But that was the only condition where it succeeded, with just a group of people that actually trained for this, and not just 2 guys doing it because they're bored. We're a group of 10, 15, 20 people. Each person in that group has one key part to make sure the mission goes well, where they have to make sure they pay attention to every small detail to make sure it doesn't potentially, lead the whole thing to a disaster. And I mean, come on, at $20 million for this pouch. Clearly money isn't the issue, so why not just go a bit further and make this thing bigger to at least have more people in it, and, make the chance of success higher. My only fear on why Larry Connor wants to make this idea seem as close to an Indiana Jones movie as possible. It just proves that two bros can make this dumb idea possible, which ties back to his goal showing that the industry is safer, which I don't know why he cares to prove so. I get why his friend would want to do so, because he's a submarine seller. If he can prove his models work at that depth, that'd be profit. But with Larry, he's only a real estate investor. I don't know why he'd catch spread the idea around. But regardless of his confidence, I feel this plan can only go in two ways, One, they reach the Titanic and they succeed and they come back up for a kiss on the cheek maybe. Or they die, or they return back in failure and they prove that the idea can work and nobody has faith in trying submarines. But just how millionaires and billionaires always they only care about crazy adventures that ultimately serve nothing. Apart from the potential profit that company Trident could make, I really don't think anybody would care to see the actual Titanic if they could. If you build an underwater museum to have people walk around it, people would go there for the first year and they never come back. I mean, come on, have you seen pictures of the ship? It's so rusted, it looks ugly as shit. I could never allow myself to die on something that hideous. I really feel those two guys, they can be disappointed when they finally get there and they see what it looks like. Of course, they're not purely doing it just to see it, they have other motives as well, but I feel to risk your life on something that old and well known, that doesn't look the best, I don't know, I feel like a waste. A 20 million sub as well, I'm not sure I'd take that money and jack off at home, I don't know.